Hello. Yes, I didn't shave. But then what did you want? A professional, you know. That looks different colour there. Hope you can all hear me. I'm sure you can. You really need to update this. Get knotted. I love it. So it's there. Anyway, right, so in the background, a bit blurred, you can see the latest working version. I've been doing a load of experimentation today and messing around. But today I wanted to just briefly... Well, I was going to ask there's a Q&A later on. Yeah, ask me some questions. Usual thing, I'll try and aim for about half hour. Answer questions. But just a bit of blurb in the beginning. So, got the picking up a final version of Appy's board Wednesday, although this is pretty much it, just a couple of tweaks. It's all going really well, let's put it that way. I'm a bit not as tired as I was, I must admit. I was struggling last week, the change in time zones and the flights were odd hour and that kind of thing. So a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, enough of that. So as you can see, yes, that's there for those of you who want to know. Is there a black version? Yeah. Or you can just look over my shoulder. Kind of get that off, falling to bits. So what you can see right now is my Amiga 1200 with a Pi Storm in it, running Scala, going through RGB SCART into Appy's Retro Scaler, and that's going into there. And so of course now let me switch this over to here. Of course, some of you, just to remind you, this has an HDMI out. So everything you're going to see on that display will appear on this display. So this is the HDMI output of that. Okay. Now the one thing you will notice, if it looks a bit dark here, that's because I have to darken it a bit on the main screen so you can see that. Okay. If I turn it up to the correct brightness, that'll burn out, whereas this will look better. Better, mine. But I'm not really here. I know Appy probably like it if I show you this, but we've all seen this and it works great. What I want to do is show you the whole HDMI switcher business. A lot of, well, actually quite well. As you probably know, this is the new board. It's really changed, obviously. If you haven't watched many of these since your first one, you're probably thinking, isn't that meant to be green on lots of different boards? Yeah. But it's been upscaled, and we've put a lot of effort into, and a lot of time and a lot of money, especially with Appy, into creating this. And this is getting kind of special now. So if you buy a standard one, as you probably know, it's a couple of HDMI ins. There's an internal HDMI in. There's an external HDMI in. There's also an HDMI out. A couple of USB sockets. internal VGA, that's VGA, normal VGA. Inputs, power, switch, you know. And up the top here is the AV connectors. Now we're just composite now, so but you get two completely independent composite inputs with its own audio, which is great. Speaker outs, phono outputs. There's also a headphone jack. It's got everything on this. Okay, it really is a nuts. But also, if you paid for the HDMI output option, I know this might seem a bit strange. Everybody gets HDMI out, and you're thinking, well, why have you paid? A lot of you should know this, but some of you don't. You're going to get this. So basically, this is an HDMI to USB. And the reason for including this is if you plug the output from this into a normal monitor, it'll display, it's fine. But if you plug it into a capture card, most of the capture cards can't handle it. So they kind of freak out because they're not used to 1280 by 1024 display, which is what's coming out of that. Please don't ask, can I have your 16:9? Because no, if you can't, it's a 1280 by 1024 display. So exactly what's on that panel gets sent out exactly the same for the HDMI output. So what we're doing is, if you bought that, if you haven't paid the HDMI output option, it's going to be hit and miss whether it works or not. Probably unlikely to work in a capture card, but that's completely up to you. It works in monitors, so if you've got an external monitor, it's just a monitor output. But as I said, the capture cards really freak out a little bit, so that's what this is for. And this works with it, and it's guaranteed to work. USB 3. It's rated for USB 3, but it seems to work under USB 2. So yeah, that's for people who want to stream. Okay, so that's what your 30 quid's paying for. But if you paid for the extra 20 quid, seems peanuts now. If you paid 20 quid extra for the 5-way input switcher, what you got now is a new top board. Instead of the little one that's on here, which is the standard one, you can see the little with a kick dog leg in it. This one fits in its place, and you see it's got the HDMI there. And what it's got two internal HDMIs, which are 5 and 6. And then at the front we have HDMI 2, 3 and 4. And of course the other ones on the other bit. There's also this which connects it to the baseboard. But that allows you to do some great. Well, obviously it's a switcher, so you've got 2 internal switches and 3 external on top of the one. So you've actually got 6 inputs, which is quite, you know, and it's digital HDMI. So I really want to do is show you this. So if we just go click from here, what we got? Oh, on HDMI 1, there's nothing on HDMI 1 because I haven't plugged anything into it. But if you go to 2, this is the bit where, okay, well then, yes, this is the one we're aware of. Hang on, let's just do that again. There we go. Right, so HDMI 2, this is the Amiga. So you saw the RGB output from Scala. Now this is the output from the PiStorm. So that's the PiStorm output. HDMI 2. We've got another intern. There we go. HDMI 3. Yes, HDMI 3. Now HDMI 3 is running the, as you can see, the green little box over there, which is my Mister. That is a bit bright, isn't it? So again, we have that trouble of it being burned out. So let me just see if I can dip that. Let's drop that down to user. That's a bit better. So of course it's going to darken on here. It darkens on that, but so it's darkening everything down, but you can see it. So that's HDMI 3. Now if we go 2 more, HDMI 4 is empty. Go to HDMI 5 and fingers crossed. Here we go. Again, I've darkened it on there, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. But so as you can see, that's now pumped through to the card, and that's actually my Raspberry Pi on a fitting kit mounted internally now. So I've actually managed to get that mounted. It won't. I've got round to it basically. Now I've got the switcher here, so that's there now. you might be interested in composite. I was look, apologies. I was invited to do the crash show, but literally my body was crashing, which is the Sinclair Spectrum show. And I paid for it and I was gonna go, but to be honest, I was struggling after the trip to China with all the changing times and the length of the flights, and it took me. Even now, I'm only literally just got back to sleeping properly again. So I was on about 2 hours sleep the night before. I just couldn't go in the end. So apologies to those. I'm sure nobody cares. Spectrum show, no one's expecting me, and I wasn't advertised, so I didn't think it was too much of a loss, and I'll go next year. So apologies for that. But as you can see, stick it on there. Now I've got one of these. There you go. I've got one of these cards. It allows me to load stuff. So that's on one of the composites. Flick on another composite and PlayStation. Now, of course, PlayStation would actually work on RGB SCART, but to be honest, that's composite. It's pretty good. You could probably, hopefully, it's not too loud. Oh, actually, there's no sound coming out of that. Oh yes, there is. So as you can see, it's got most of what you want. Let's put it. I'm going to go straight back to 3. Stick it on 3. How loud's that? That's not too bad, is it? So if I tell you what, let's put it on to 5 because I know that's quiet. Now let's just show you. If I turn that in to make it a little bit brighter, go into vivid. Yeah, it's a bit brighter. It's probably a little bit too much actually. Standard. There you go. Now, of course, the back one's burned out, but you know, there you go. Anyway, so it's coming on really well. The little board. Let's go back to. Let me switch back to here. I will come to this little board. I'm really pleased with. It's that way round. It's actually come out really nice. The only thing at the moment it's outstanding is we're hoping we can get automatic switching. So when you plug a connector in, it's just a software update. They're working on that. But actually, even manually now, we had a couple of things getting it to work just how we wanted it, and so manually it works pretty nicely now. But hopefully we're going to get automatic HDMI switching. So if you plug something in, it'll bring it up. But no, I'm really pleased with that, and to be honest, I'm pleased with the way the whole thing's going. So that's probably the updates. I can't think of much else. I'm going to have a look through, see if we got any questions. Yes. Even though Ohio, remember it was my idea to add HDMI. Oh God, here we go. It was my idea. Really? So yeah, but anyway, my original idea was I was going to get an HDMI switcher and just connect it and so on. Yes, Appy came up with the obvious idea of sticking it on the mez. Right. Can you change the power of the backlight? Yes, but yes. Is the brightness difference because of the car? For God's sake. Come on, people. Yes, there you go. You can't have the brightness of that because it affects this. Yeah? This. Because it's a complete copy of that on here. There you go. That's, yes, L3 backlight says on the slot so controls use short jumpers. 3 backlight settings. Hey Fassy, how you doing? So come on, ask some questions. Always is going to be a very early night because there's not a great deal to really talk about. The secret thing Appy's mentioned is not time to mention it yet. But I can tell you now it's not 6 VCS 2600s. Come on, put some questions, because otherwise I'm going to cut it short. What else can I tell you about? Apart from the fact that I'm still tired. No, not really. That's not really that interesting, to be fair. Come and ask me some questions. Are we getting close to a full-blown production date? Oh, God, you would ask that, wouldn't you? Oh, yes, we are getting close. Well, the answer is yes, we are getting close to that. Okay, so basically, this board seems done. It seems to be working good, so that's good. The switcher, it's just firmware changes now, so there's some firmware changes to be done on that, but that's, you know, oh God, I suppose I should mention having a couple of issues with this, so that's a little bit of a hold up at the moment. I'm not going to go into details, don't ask me details, just we're having a couple of issues with that. And what else? Oh, Appy's card was done, and then we tweaked it. Oh, then he tweaked it. So we had a couple of tweaks, but that's, you know, nothing serious. So that's going to be made. We're going to have some samples made of that, and get them made. Not Appy making them. You hand makes them, as you may be aware. You hand makes them all. Going to get them 5 of them made, like a small production run, just to check them. Fingers crossed that's all right, but everything else seems, on the scaler, everything else seems absolutely great. So I mean, yeah, I mean the chassis, I'm waiting for the new final chassis to come with the texture. The texturing's been done, but there was issues with getting the consistency, and they have to dial in the settings of the mix. And there was a couple of extra bits we've added, a couple of little changes, so I should be getting them in about 10 days, something like that. Get them over. Once they're over, then I can sign them off. So we are getting close. In fact, I mean, I'm about to order these boards. And so, you know, we've already paid for the power supplies already made. But it'll all happen really quick. This is the thing. Once we start manufacturing, it's like 30 days. So it'll all happen pretty quick. I don't want to quote times because, you know, it doesn't make any sense me quoting a time. You'll know because I'll tell you it's on the boat. I will keep you updated, but once it's on the boat, you know it's 6 weeks away. And so it's getting there, but it's light years ahead of what we originally promised. I mean, it really is. The quality is totally different. Any more questions? What should we be asking? You can ask what you like. I seem to remember you saying in a previous video that there would be enough power for a Raspberry Pi 5. Can you confirm there will be 5 amps? Yes. It's written on the back of the power supply. 5 volts, 5 amps. And in fact, it will actually go higher than that. But it, you know, for the, how can I put this? Up to 5 amps, you get a really solid 5 volts. When you go above 5 amps, it just starts to dip below slightly. That's why we put it on there. Back 5 volts, 5 amps, more than good enough. Okay. Will there be a custom board for a Mister? No, I'm not going to do a custom. If you're thinking along the lines of the Mystics, I'm not gonna do that. But it's just a cable kit. We're just making a cable kit for it. So you know, it's in that one over there. Oh, you can't see it. I'm on a different screen. Let me just pull another here. There will be one. It's designed. It's going to be it's only really a frame and a few cables. It's nothing. But I've got a number of that one there will probably go in it. But the answer was I could have just said yes. Um, when do you plan to start sending the first monitors? Well, it will be 2024. Relatively early, but I'm not telling you when. As I said, once it's on the boat, you'll know it's 6 weeks to arrive in, and then within a week we'll start shipping the first numbers out, and it'll be constant shipping them out. The good thing is that they're being largely assembled in China, so when they arrive here, I just have to put the extra bits in and then test them all. So it should be a lot quicker, which will be good. How many ordered the bags? So far we're halfway through people paying, and I've got 80 bags. Here's another question. You ask for these, that's fine. How about plans for a new location to build and ship these? Waiting to sort that out. Right, yeah, that's a tricky one. Look, this is an awkward thing, because if anyone knows about this kind of thing, you kind of have to sign up for a period of time. And I've already got a 5-year lease on the place I'm in. I've been there 2.5 years. So moving to another one means I lose some deposit. If I move to another one, I have to commit to more time. I can't commit to something huge because I don't know what's going to happen down the road. Now, we believe we're going to sell an awful lot of these monitors, but I haven't got a crystal ball, right? And of course, I know I'm confident about the product, but of course, it depends how people react to it when it goes out there. So, we're going to do temporary space to get this lot out, and if it takes off, then we can get somewhere really nice, because I'd like the glass front building. Not glass probably, but I'd like a nice building, somewhere nice to work in. Maybe I could rent the old Commodore headquarters in Maidenhead, something like that. Does the RF input handle Palantir C? Yes. Although it's not a significant feature, do you know if RF is capable of displaying the not so standard frequency of spectrum? It's a good question, actually, because I don't have an RF spectrum. I know Appy's going to pipe up now, but you've got an adapter that's not the same thing. So I had mine's being converted to composite. But I'm going to go see the guys at Greenford on Thursday night. Hopefully someone there's got one, we can test it. But it's pretty good. You can adjust the tune. You've got some real control over the tuning. So I wouldn't be surprised if it should do. Although, to be honest, even though it works, unless you don't want to touch it, just get a composite mod. Will there be a jog dial on the lower left corner of the monitor with a mini OLED display? What will it control? Yeah, so that's for the scaler. That's for Appy's scaler. Fact. There you go. Is that the right way around? Or is it that way around? It's that way around. Yeah, this is what goes on the front. So there's your dial. There's your OLED. In case someone asks what that's for, headphone. If you want to connect a headphone socket to there, and that plugs onto the board inside. Yeah, this is but this is for the scaler. Now, having said that, anyone who designed, because this is on the back plane, there's an I2C bus, and so anything that needs to give this functionality just connects to it. Anything that needs it, like you plug in something and you want to control it with this, it will work. It doesn't come as standard. This will come with the scaler, but once you've got it, you've got it. And it does, well, you've probably seen it. You can just about see it on the video, but it does work very well actually. What is causing the HDMI feed to jump over? Yeah, I've noticed that it's kind of jumping a bit. I'll have a word with them about that. Something's just obviously slightly off. I'll have a word. Yes, I know, Happy. Yeah, I can see it. It's on my feed. I can see it here. A little knob for the art. Yeah. Did I understand correctly? We get a chance to add options before delivery if we've already paid. Right, okay, yeah, let me cover this again. So just before we prepare to ship, it's too complicated if you do it. There's a lot of reasons for not doing it now, right? A lot of reasons. I'm not going into them, but there's good reasons for not changing your order yet. But when it's time, then I will basically tell everyone, preferably once I've got credit cards things sorted out. I don't want to be doing a bank transfer for this. So once I've got the credit card things, in other words, once we're ready to almost ship, once on the boat, everything's going to change. You're going to be updated. I know this. We'll lock down everything, and will be a whole load of things happening in that period while it's on the boat. One of those things will be setting up credit cards, and the other thing will be saying, okay, if you want to tweak your order to get some extra bits, if everyone does it, we might have a problem, and it'll be first come first serve until we run out of the parts. So for example, if you've ordered standard one, right, standard board, and you want to upgrade to this, at the moment I've got 750 monitors paid for, and about 450 are having the HDMI, yes, the switcher. So I'm going to make sure I've got quite a lot. I'm going to overorder them, so I don't worry too much about it. But if I do run out, I'll run out, and I'll have to make more, and you'll have to order it separately. But yeah, so later, once everything's put on the boat, then we'll be saying, okay, well, here's the changes, and this is what you need to know before you want to change your order, and then we'll go through that. Now, what you probably won't be able to do is change your color, because once we start manufacturing, there's no color changing, because they'll have been made the right number. Well, the right numbers, give or take a few. So changing colors is a problem. I will order spare HDMI switches and other bits, so it's probably not quite so much of a problem. Make a luggable PC case. Done that. And can you change the input with the remote, like the front dial? Can you change the input without the remote? There's buttons on it. The jog dial has nothing to do with the inputs. It purely controls the scaler in this occasion. Maybe later it'll control something else, but it won't. You need either remote control. So I've not been shot. You either need the remote control or the buttons on the front. I don't recommend using the buttons on the front of the monitor, because it's quite complex. That's why everyone gets a remote control. And everything can be done on that. We added a few. Did I understand? Make logo. Can you change input? The slot system will comfortably support the weight of heavier boards, such as an FPGA type. Yes. Go back and have a look at the design. You'll see the carrier rails. Yeah. Well, look at this video underneath. Actually, does it actually show you? There's a rail. When you slide the board in, it slides in. Having said that, I suppose it's a good question actually. Look, trust me, nothing's. There's metal. The frames that go in are metal. When they're screwed in place, they ain't going nowhere. You can just be able to sit on it. I'm exaggerating. Don't do it. But yeah, it'll take a lot more than just a stupid FPGA board. FPGA boards weigh nothing. Will the Mr. Power Switch be accessible? Just curious how to turn on and off is in the case. Yeah, but again, I can't show you. But at the back we have power switches. We have a stack. Oh, hang on. Here we go. So this power switch here, yeah, it's duplicated all the way up. So we have a little tiny board, a little mini version of the same switch with connectors going to the back plane and to the Mister and Pi or whatever, and it's controlled by exactly the same switch. So you can self-isolate each pod. Can you get the ship number so we can see screen traveling to UK? I doubt it. Doubt that. Will the firmware of the monitor be field upgradable? Yes. Yeah, because I mean it's just a file. You drop it onto a USB stick. We do it all the time, and it just, when you turn the power on, it just updates it. In fact, everyone should make sure you got a copy of it. Download a copy of it. It also means that, because I'm going to tell you how you can go in administrator mode and make tweaks, and if you bugger it up, you can just reset the firmware. But the answer to that is yes. Which option is now best for C64? The S-video input. Will the... God, this is really annoying. I don't know why it does this. God, that's... Will the box monitor... No. Will the monitor come in be as nice? Oh, okay. Again, you maybe missed videos. So it's not on the same scale, right? It's really nice design, but it's single color. So it's a brown box with black graphics. But Paul's done it again. Paul Kitchen's done the graphics again, and it does look really good. If you haven't seen the video with pictures, I'll show some later on. But that does look really good. It's not in the same league as the Checkmate 1500 cases, because they cost a fortune. They're like £15 on top of the cost of the box. And the other thing we have people saying is, oh, for God's sake, don't make me have to keep it. So we had to reduce the cost to put the money in the monitor, because I've invested a fortune in the monitor. So I'm not wasting money on thousands of pounds on a colour box. But the box will look nice. It's a lovely design. It's just black graphics and print onto a brown box. Question. With all these add-on boards, will there be one power switch to power on the monitor, or will each backplane have to have its own power switch? Okay, so if you leave them all switched on, there's 3 switches in the back of this monitor. There's 3 switches. Okay, but the one at the bottom is the overriding power. So if you turn that on, depending on the 2 switches above it, will come on or off. It's straightforward. So what I would do with this, I'm not going to run the Pi all the time. I'd have that switched off, but I'd have the scaler turned on. But it means they are all independent. But if you have the top 2 turned on and you power on the bottom one, which is the main one, then they all come on. So it's fairly straightforward. Right, any more questions? Because I'm going to draw a line under it. Right, doesn't seem to be any more. I'm obviously going to do... whether I'll do one next... probably. I just kind of got into the habit of doing this. I also want to thank my patrons again. I put a message up about, do you want me to do a stream just for patrons so they can ask me more in-depth questions, you know, the stuff that I might not be able to tell everyone, and do it like, unlisted. But they just said, concentrate on what I'm doing and save the time. So I do appreciate that, because I like doing these. It's good fun. I've got a lot to do. Anyway, there's another one. Oh, did I miss yours, Fassi? Oh, hang on, I'll come back to that. Let me have a look. Hang on. I didn't do it on purpose, trust me. Shall we go for a kebab before the meet-up on Thursday? No. Do you know what? Actually, I've kind of double booked Thursday, because I'm taking me, Alfie and Caroline are going to see the Fancy Lights in Milton Keynes. Well, not in Milton Keynes, but Gulliver's Land, whatever it's called. So we should be back by 7. Then I got to get to Greenford, so I probably won't get it till 7:30, 8 o'clock. So the answer's no. Maybe after. Hope that was the question. Anyway, have I missed a load of questions? Oh yeah, I think. No, it looks like I've done them all. For those who are late to the party, are there specific unique waiting lists for the black and white model? And will options for selecting add-ons be available, or will there be select buttons? That's the big question. Well, the answer is I'm going to simplify things. There'll be a black one and a white one. I'm going to upset people now. The 17-inch is probably going to be a special order, because whereas in the Kickstarter 20% of people want a 17-inch, when it comes down to putting your money down, bugger all. So it's cost thousands to make the tool in. So what I'm gonna do is if you want a 17-inch, it'll be the same price, but you'll have to order it from me, and then we'll just take one of the 19-inch and we'll have to custom build it. So it's a bit of a bummer, but there's just not enough people want the 17s. Everyone wants it, but when the reality is we've all got bad eyesight, and everyone wants a 19-inch. So the 17 will be available, but you have to order it from me. Is there anything that you might change? I can't tell you here anyway, but no, there isn't. Is there anything I would do differently? That's what I'm kind of changing your question here. Was there anything I'd do differently? Allow more time on the Kickstarter. But the thing was, we would have been in time if I'd actually gone down the route of tidying up the original concept. You'd have had it ages ago. You would have had it. The fact that we sold so many because of the video from Nostalgia Nerd meant that I could actually make what I wanted, which was this kind of thing. Everything on one board, a custom board. This is what I wanted originally. Now, I know the backplane kind of came along new, but my thinking was to make a generic connector, so you can just connect and a single connector go on it, make it simple. But the backplane made it even better. So before Appy jumps up and tells you it was his idea. But the backplane has made life a lot easier. In fact, since we've been doing it, we've added more and more to the backplane. So this backplane has actually really got an awful lot of signals going through it, and it's pretty good. So but that could have only happened because I have someone like Appy that can help me improve the project. What else had I done? No, that I don't think. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think. I suppose answering the question, is things going to change? One of the things I'm going to do when we get ready and once we're there on a boat, there is going to be a future roadmap. In my opinion, this monitor is designed to please 95% of people who want to buy a monitor for their retro devices. It's not going to please everyone. Right, it isn't, and I know the reasons why, and they're reasons that either we can't do because you don't make CRTs anymore. Get that one out of the way. But there's a number of technical things you can do with panels, which at this price point you can't. And also there's certain things that we need to look into. There's a whole number of things, improvements that we can make over time. I'm trying to make this monitor so it hits the ground running, pleases 95% of people, and then just as I said, we've got the Arcuda panel. We're still working with them. I've got a number of other things we want to do with this product, and so there is going to be a roadmap I'll tell more about it. I mean, you should know already one of the things we're planning on doing, which I'm not going to mention now because actually we're making good progress. But yeah, there's things we want to do. There is stuff, but if the worst case scenario, it might be you have to swap a board out, or firmware update, that kind of thing. Some of them possibly be a firmware update. Some of them might be a board switch. But basically, and of course, if you do want to upgrade to the Arcuda, like say we got an OLED. Don't know. Stay in your beds. But say we got an OLED, you'd have to swap it out and put in that in a controller. But ultimately, going forward, we want to try and make it so that it's as close to the perfect monitor for the retro community as we can make it. Out of the gate, I think as I said, 95% of people are going to be happy. And the other 5% will continue to strive to impress. But a lot of people, until you actually see the monitors, most people see the monitors and go, it's brilliant. So happens an awful lot for one question. You need to come down Portsmouth sometime with Steve and have a curry and a beer. Also, did you have any info about a keyboard? Yeah, but I'm not sharing. But to be fair, no. The keyboard thing is up, down, up, down. It's on, it's off. It's on, it's off. It's on, it's off. It's an important question. I'm down for that. Yeah, you can come. Because I've got transit now. So yeah, if you want to, Fassy, mate. If you want to come down there, yeah, of course. Also, what are you drinking? Oh. Habit. That was it. Importance list: 1, beer. 2, curry. 3, electronics. 4, fall over drunk. Nah, because I got to drive. You don't want me to drive you back. So you're gonna have a whale of a time, and then I'll be driving. And we need to make it right. Keep nudging, Steve. Yeah. In the video, the front is in 2 parts. In the video, the front is in 2 parts. No, it's still 2 parts. Because it was made specifically. It used to be 1 part, but now it's 2 parts, and it's staying like that for assembly reasons. OLED with 70 plus display would be the dream monitor. Absolutely. Give me a kidney in one of your testicles, because that's what it's going to take. Anyway, look, I gotta go. Well, if you're up for the beer in Portsmouth, Fassy, then that's cool. And I'm done. And one more question: which kidney, left or right? Which is the one you can live without? Might be 2 kidneys actually, because it's an OLED. Right. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thanks so much for joining in. I'll see about doing another one next week. Again, sometimes these are not particular. This one was just HDMI showing you that it works, and it works nicely. I'm really pleased with it. And we'll, if I've got anything new to talk about, you may find next week I don't do because there's no need, but we'll see. But enough of that. I won't bore you with the outro. I'm not going to put that on. It's a waste of time. So I will live from the curry house in Portsmouth. We could do that. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, thanks so much, guys. Press that button there. Now this is the bit where I go. Keep well. Keep shiny side up. Oh, that's motorbikes, isn't it? See you next week.